It's time for this week's Stories of Faith. And as you know, Stories of Faith gives us the opportunity to introduce you to some of the amazing people here at Grapevine Faith Christian School. So between families, students, faculty, we have an opportunity just to share with you how special these people really are. This week, we're really excited to have Fred Boyce join us. So Fred, man, I've seen you around and we've had to visit a little bit, but I'm really excited to get to visit with you a little bit further and get to know you better. So thanks for taking time to sit down with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, tell us, as a way of introduction, tell us a little bit about the Boyce family.
Well, there's three of us. Myself, Sherry Boyce, you may see her. She played piano for her graduation this past spring. And then my son, Aiden Boyce, is in 8th grade, and he's also on the drum line. This will be his second year to play on the bass.
Awesome. And you've been here, we were talking about this earlier, you've been here.
My seventh year.
Okay,
yeah.
Grapevine Faith. So you were in public school. I guess you've got some history there as well. But what was the impetus that led you to Grapevine Faith Christian School? What was kind of the story behind that?
Well, I had an incredible job at South Lake Carroll, doing the drum line and building that up. And, but I was never home. And so when my son was about to be born, I realized I needed my family to be in a Christ-centered atmosphere. And so I literally just walked into the head director's office and said I was going to go a different direction. Crickets. No, they couldn't believe I was walking away from it. But that's what I did. It was a leap of faith, and it has been an incredible journey. And then, Scott Wernz found me. I applied. One person, Kara Fleming, told me, why don't you put in an application at Faith? There was no reason to do that because Scott was here. I already had Dennis here. And after I put in my one application, 24 hours, he resigned. And Scott Wernz called me up and just paraded me around here. And the rest is history.
Now, you've been in music probably your whole life. I mean, guys like you that are so talented, you kind of grew up with that. And you graduated from UT Tyler with a music degree specializing in percussion, which is, you lead the drum line here, makes sense. Tell us a bit about your musical journey. Is that something that, did you grow up that way at an early age, knowing that you wanted to do music? Like, tell us about kind of your musical journey.
Yeah, my dad was a big supporter. Very blessed to be able to do it. But literally after high school, going into college, I realized that that's the only thing I could do. And just a series of God events where a gentleman from SMU, Drew Lang, was driving down to Tyler, and as I was about to graduate, he plugged me into the symphonies immediately. And my senior year, I did my final jury. And that evening, I had a rehearsal with the East Texas Symphony in Tyler. And it just took off. I hadn't even finished my degree yet. And so I literally was a freelance percussionist throughout DFW and the region for years. And then I started teaching private lessons at South Lake Carroll and had so many all-staters that the head director called me up and asked me if I wanted to teach drumline. And I told him, I'm not a drumline guy. I'm a symphony player. I'm a professional drummer, percussionist. And he said, will you do it? Sure. And that was it. It took off from there, and I love it. And still friends with the guys at Carroll. And I'll be working today composing with Jeff Osdemore of Drum Corps International. He does Blue Nights out of Denver, Colorado. And he's writing the show once again for our Faith Band and Drumline. So a
lot of connections in that space, right?
Just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Did you think at one point that, hey, I want to tour, I want to be in a band, or was that kind of a thought at some point? I mean, clearly God had other plans for you, but was that a dream of yours at one point?
Yes. Yeah. And I did a lot of drum set playing. I got a text one time and I said to my wife, who gets a text? It says, do you want to tour Europe? Do you want to go with, and I'm not even going to say the name of the band. And I said, who gets a text like that? And she said, you do. Fred Boyce does. I did not do that because I was now going in a different direction.
I see these conductors and stuff on YouTube videos. Like, and I'm talking about the ones that do like the big orchestras, London, symphony orchestra, all that. And they've got these just crazy arm motions, and they seem to have this just like almost bigger than life personality. And man, you're not wired that way. You're one of the chillest guys I know. Now you're fully engaged, right? You're all in on it, but you've just got this demeanor of just this peace, and this confidence in your performers, that, the people that are playing. And I'm just kind of wondering where that comes from, because you're not this kind of like, a lot of those conductors feel like they've got this bigger than life type personality, and they try to be really out front, and you really kind of sit in the background and really promote your students, push them in the front. And I'm just kind of curious kind of where that comes from.
Yes, sir. No, I mean, it's from God. It is, the calm. I've won all the awards, but I want to give the kids the chance. It's like when I get asked to play drums, I try not to. I really want, Seth, for example, I want them to get that opportunity, and I want to coach them and bring them along. But no, it's, again, it's just, it comes from God, and, seeking his guidance in all things. And I get enough attention. So I want to share the love and share the joy with the students.
It's awesome. Well, we love the humility and the spirit which you offer that. So let's talk about, you've referenced obviously, God. Let's talk about your relationship. How did you come to a saving knowledge of Jesus? And it's clearly, I mean, it's very, very personal to you and very important, I can tell. Yeah, so tell us about that.
From a very young age, I felt him with me, and I just leaned into him immediately. And I would hear either my dad preach, or later in life, I would visit many churches, and I thought, okay, well, I need to do what they're doing. But the fact of the matter is, he has been with me my entire life from a very young age. And I just lean into him and try to reaffirm and make sure that I don't get too far from him. And that's all I can say.
But I think what's so important in that story, though, Fred, is that you, even though you grew up as a pastor's son, you came to the point where you realized, like, hey, this isn't some generational thing. I have to have my own personal relationship. And you had to come to that moment of crisis, right? Where you say, I'm Jesus, come into my life. And so I think that's so important for, regardless of what anybody's testimony is, that it's still very much a personal decision that we have to make. And so, that's so powerful. And clearly your dad was, meant a ton to you, and your family's very, very important to you. So I appreciate you sharing from a personal perspective on that. I really do. So we've got so many gifted students, in the arts here, in music and so forth at Grapevine Faith. And there might be somebody watching and saying, hey, I've got a student that, would like to be involved in the band or drum line, something like that. What would you say to that family, about the programs and the ministries that Grapevine Faith has to offer them?
It starts with someone like Jessica Kirby in the elementary, or the choir and band in junior high, depending on what grade they come in. It'll help tremendously if you have a foundation, just piano lessons, voice lessons, acting lessons, something like that. It all, ties together, whether they want to, work with Mr. Wernz on a musical, or sing in the choir, or play in the band. It really does help to have that, backing from the parents. Say, hey, let's get you into some piano lessons. Because a lot of times the parents don't really know, unless they have a musical background, okay, what should we do to encourage this? And I encourage anyone, whether it's an athlete, to have that balance, just like your sons playing in worship for us in chapel, guitar, drums. It's just, there's a balance to it. So that's what I would recommend is just, get some lessons. My wife and I have owned a music school called South Lake Music Academy for 20 years. And it's amazing to watch all the different phases of life, whether they're athletes or musicians, just to go through that process and become lifelong learners. So that later on in life, when they're at their job and they have a rough day, they can go back, sit down piano, sit down drums, guitar, sing, and have that.
So it's a lifelong hobby they can adopt even right now.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, this isn't why we do it, but you talked about awards earlier. And the one thing I love about Grapevine Faith is when we do things, we want to do them with excellence. And we are going to be competitive. You know, whether it's the athletic field or, you know, a drumline competition, we're going to put our very best effort forward. So talk about some of the awards, maybe even the recent ones or ones that kind of stick out to you. Talk about the awards that the drumline and band and stuff have won over the years here at Grapevine Faith.
Yeah, I'm all about the here and the now. Last year, for the first time, our band did field band competition and came in 6th in the state, got a first division. Drumline came in 2nd. And that was really an awesome experience, is having the band along and do their portion. We'll do it again, hopefully be even higher up. And then the band will also compete in the spring. Band and drumline has to do fall competition and spring competition just to get the points for TAPS. But yeah, I think the most memorable one was during COVID. Had a lot of downtime. We all had a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
So I dove into it. Dr. Smith gave us a charge to dive into Brandon Smeltzer's biblical worldview. And I every day had my coffee out. I did that, work on the show. And then we went to Waco with the drumline in October. We're in the masks. We're going to look back and be like, why are we wearing masks?
Right. We all will. Yeah.
And we did it. We won our first state championship. We'd come in 3rd my first year here. They had the year before I came in, they came in 14th.
Wow.
So the first year we came in 3rd, then we were state champions, and we haven't been any lower than 3rd place for the drumline. So I'm hoping to see the band come up and do that as well. And then I've got a shout out Amy Revis. Last year, at the end of the year, 2024, she nominated me for Teacher of the Year with TAPS, and didn't think anything of it. And then Tammy Peden and Amy called me up. I'm on vacation, and they're screaming in the phone. I'm like, is everything okay? And they said, you won. I was like, what? I haven't checked my email. I didn't expect that. So I got the TAPS Fine Arts Award for Teacher of the Year.
Well deserved.
Well, yeah, it was amazing. We have, back to your point, with our creative arts teachers, it's incredible what we have here.
Yeah, very, very blessed. Well, I ask everybody this question, and I think you can bring a unique perspective to it with your not only tenure here on faculty, but also as a parent. I think there's a million reasons why Grapevine Faith is so unique and so special. It's different. It just is. I'm not saying we're better. I think we are in some ways, but anyway, we're just different, right? And it's unique. From your perspective, what makes Grapevine Faith Christian School so special? It's
the people. It really is the families. Like you said, it's hard to quantify, but I love coming to work with my friends. That's why not as much as my colleagues, but like I tell admin, when I bring up something I want to fix, I just want to make it the best it can possibly be. And they're fully on board. The leadership during COVID, and I told Dr. Smith this, incredible leadership. What they showed during that volatile time was just absolutely amazing. The way they navigated all of that, just incredible. Well, you mentioned it, and I'll echo it. Grapevine Faith Christian School is so special because of the people like Fred Boyce. If you'd like to find out more information about Grapevine Faith, you can visit us on our website at grapevinefaith.com to get more information or even to schedule a visit. Fred, I am so grateful for our time, man. I feel like I've grown so much closer to you. You've been so transparent. Thanks for sharing your testimony and just your heart. This is clearly very, very special to you and very close to you, and something you're very passionate about. And we're so blessed to have you here, man. So thank you so much for your time today. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Steve. Thanks for your support. Absolutely. For everything. You bet. Thank you. That's Drumline Director Fred Boyce. Second half of the Lions matchups coming up next right here on the Grapevine Faith Sports Network.